Welcome back to the Angels here on MLB The Show 25. As you can see, we are now here into the month of June, and the scrappy Angels are starting to turn more so into the usual Angels, unfortunately, which is not very good. We are currently sitting at 7 games behind first place here in the American League West, as the Mariners are starting to really pull away from everyone in this division. And unfortunately, it looks like Kyle Hendricks' time as a member of the Halos is going to come to an end. He is currently sitting at a 6.54 ERA and a 5.31 FIP, and his ratings, as you would expect for a guy of his age, are regressing like crazy. So as somebody only on like a $2 million one-year deal, he is going to be getting cut from the team. He's being waived and DFA'd, and then getting released. Kyle Hendricks no longer a member of the Los Angeles Angels, and taking his place on the big league club will be Ian Anderson, getting the call-up from AAA Salt Lake. The former number 3 overall pick in 2016. His career has definitely gotten derailed since the promising 2021 season, I believe it was. But so far this year with the Salt Lake Bees, he does have a 3.29 ERA and a 2.53 FIP, so he's going to get the call up to replace Hendricks in the rotation, and the reason why we're going with him over somebody like Caden Dana or Jack Kahanowitz is simply because his spot in the rotation lines up with Hendricks, and we need the guy to pitch today. And now stop me if you've heard this before. The Angels, not very good, but Mike Trout playing at an all-world level. That's what's going on once again here, folks. He's got a 4-digit OPS, leading the team, obviously one of the best OPSs in the American League. But we also do have Nolan Schanuel playing as his number 2, who has been very, very good this season, currently sitting at a 900 OPS with a 394 OBP, sitting in that leadoff spot. And unfortunately, Travis d'Arnaud was playing well for us, but he's going to miss the rest of the season with a torn MCL, so no more Travis d'Arnaud the rest of the year, and that might also be the end of his Angels tenure because he is on a 2-year deal. We have him signed through next season, but he is already somebody who's 36 years old. He is regressing like crazy, getting hit with that patented MLB The Show regression once you hit a certain age. And it's looking like, if he keeps regressing like this, he's really not going to be useful to us next season. So probably going to be looking at as a potential DFA and release candidate in the offseason. We also called up another Anderson and Tim Anderson to the big league club to take his spot on the roster. And then Jorge Soler is currently playing DH against righties and lefties, and because of that, his production has plummeted quite a bit, no longer just in that short side platoon on against left-handers. Now he's playing against righties, and his OPS has dropped down to 705. Making another roster transaction here, as Spencer Bivens has not been the greatest for us here in the big leagues. He has an 8 ERA and a 6 FIP, so he is going to get sent down to AAA Salt Lake, and taking his place on the roster will be Ryan Johnson, the rookie out of Dallas Baptist University. He was the compensation pick that the Angels got for Shohei Ohtani. In real life, he went straight to the big leagues, skipped the minor leagues altogether. In ours, he spent some time in AAA, was really good down there, and now he's going to be in our big league bullpen. And then because we released Kyle Hendricks and we promoted Anderson, we now have a spot open in the AAA rotation, and that spot is going to be going to George Klassen, who we are calling up from AA Rocket City. He has been great down there this season with a 2.5 ERA and a 3.04 FIP in 72 innings pitched. He's currently sitting at a 76 overall and a B potential, so it's definitely time for him to get his shot at the AAA level up in Salt Lake. We recently did check in on him with a start down in Tennessee against the Knoxville Smokies, the AA affiliate for the Chicago Cubs. Not the best outing for him. He did give up 4 earned runs in 5 innings pitched, but, there were definitely some flashes. He had some strikeouts, just didn't have his best stuff on the day. I would say more so that's because I'm playing on classic pitching, and one thing I'm really noticing with this slider set is that it's pretty much impossible to pitch well on classic pitching with this slider set, because wherever you're telling the guy to throw the ball is basically the complete opposite of where the ball is going to go. You want a guy to throw a sinker down in the zone, he's hanging that shit middle in. You want to bust a cutter up and in on a guy's hands, well, that shit's just going to float over the plate and he's hitting that 111 into the gap. Sometimes you'll even hit your spot and the CPU will just take a changeup like a foot below the zone, 425 to center field. And it's just like, what am I supposed to do, man? But then on the flip side is, if you want the pitching to not be this impossible, you have to then use one of the other pitching inputs in this game, where if you use any of those, you genuinely have to be a moron to not pitch well in this game. That's how easy it is to pitch with those ones. So basically, I'm in this situation where, do we want to just have every single pitch be not where I'm telling it to go? Or do we want to have every single game I pitch be, I go 6 innings at least with 10 strikeouts? But aside from how it actually went in-game when I was using Klassen, the numbers very much speak for themselves at the AA level. He definitely deserves a promotion to AAA. His ratings are very much aligned to where he could be even pitching in the big leagues. So in AAA goes George Klassen. The Angels traveling out east to Boston to take on the Red Sox, who are currently rocking a 6-game losing skid. Tanner Houck, the former Missouri Tiger, is going to be the one to try to buck that trend on the bump here for the Red Sox. Take a look at the lineup he'll be facing of the Halos 1-9, as well as the starting pitcher on the day, making his 2025 debut. It's Ian Anderson on the bump for them. So we'll start things off bottom one. Jarren Duran here leading things off for the Red Sox with a base knock into right field. He would then proceed to go and swipe second base as the throw from Hoppy is not in time. So Duran with his fleet feet is in scoring position. David Hamilton then draws a walk. It's first and second here for Boston. Brings up Rafi Devers, who then grounds one 4-6-3 double play. Anderson to Neto over to Shawnuel. That's 2 down. And then Alex Bregman would ground one to Anderson as well. And it's nothing going for the Sox, despite 2 on, nobody out. They strand those runners. Then in the bottom of the second, Roman Anthony goes down looking. And it's apparently Ian Anderson's first Major League strikeout. Wink, wink, definitely so, game. Then we move things on, top 3, Yoan Moncada. He powers one out to left center field. That's going to get up off the wall. And he's got himself a leadoff 2-bagger here for the Angels against his former organization he was with. And then Shawnuel rips one into right field. Moncada moves up to third base. Runners on the corners here for the Angels. Brings up Mike Trout, who spits on ball 4. Nowhere near the zone, so bases are loaded now for Taylor Ward. And he gets a hanging sinker that he pops up into right center field. Nothing going, still 0-0. Top 4 here, 2 outs. Jorge Soler, a little bloop shot into center field, keeps the inning alive. He's on first base. Then Moncada grounds one that somehow gets past Casas. Soler turning on the Jets, going first to third on here. So now it's runners on the corners for the Angels. Brings up Joe Adell, cannot hang up on the curveball in the dirt, and that's going to be a strike 3. In the dirt, they throw to first to complete the strikeout, so still nothing. Move things on, bottom of the 4. David Hamilton up against the wall here to lead off the inning. Easy 2-bagger with his speed. His fleet feet are on second base, and then Rafi Devers ripping one over the leaping glove of Trout in right field. That's going to score Hamilton easy. Devers makes it a 1-0 Boston lead as they strike first in this one, and then Alex Bregman comes up. He's going out to left field off the monster. And that's going to be now 2-0, as that's an RBI single, and somehow Neto can't catch the relay. Nothing else goes on in the inning. Move things on, top 5. Tim Anderson somehow grounding this one inside out and gets a right field past Campbell at second base. Anderson then swiping second, in there in scoring position. Shawnuel now 1-1 count to him, ground ball left side. Hamilton makes the stab, throws over to first. Somehow, Shawnuel gets an infield single. So it's first and second, nobody out. Trout then goes inside out to right field. That's going to then score the runner from second base. It's now a 2-1 ball game, and even though Tim Anderson popped up totally fine, somehow a very serious ankle injury. More on that later. So he comes out. Kevin Newman will replace him the rest of the way. Still first and second, nobody out. Taylor Ward goes inside out to right field. Everybody moves up a base. It's now bases juiced. And Liam Hendricks, the Aussie, comes in here for the Red Sox for the 27th time this season, facing Zach Neto, who grounds one. And Christian Campbell, continuing to be a poor defender at second base, commits an error. Everyone's safe. Runs comes in at to tie a ball game, and then Jorge Soler makes him pay. Sends one out to right center field. That hops up over the wall. Ground rule double, and the Angels now have 4. That's their first lead of the game. 4-2 ball game here, and then Moncada flies one out. That's going to be a sac fly. It's now a 5-2 game. Move things on to the top of the 6th, where Josh Winkowski comes on out of the bullpen here for the Red Sox. facing Nolan Shawnuel. Runner on first base, nobody out, and Shawnuel hitting this one into that right center field gap. That's going to score the runner all the way from first base. Kevin Newman trotting the whole way around. Move things on to the 7th here. Aroldis Chapman comes in the game here for the Red Sox. It's a 6-3 game now, and Jorge Soler, he's going over the monster, baby. This one is a solo shot. It's a 7-3 ball game as Jorge Soler connects on that one. They bring in the lefty to face him. Then Moncada bloops one down into right field. That's going to hop up against the wall. Single for him. Brings up Joe Adell. He grounds one past the diving glove of Casas. 2 on here for the Angels. 1 out. Kevin Newman steps up, and he gets a hold of one. Middle fastball. He's taking that off the monster, and that's going to score a run. 8-3 now. Another lefty and Brennan Bernardino comes out of the bullpen here for Boston. Alex Cora going with back-to-back lefties. Brings up Nolan Shawnuel. Ground ball through the left side. It's now 10-3 as they get aggressive. Send the other one. Newman slides around the tag, and I guess somehow it pops out of the glove of the catcher. So 10-3 here. Then Ward is going to single down the left field line. That's going to score 1. It's 11-3 now here for the Angels, and they're still not done. Logan O'Hoppe grounding one where they ain't. That's into right field. First and second now brings up Zach Neto. Ground ball to first base. Somehow Casas can't handle it. Hop skips over his shoulder. I don't know if that's an E3 or what, but another run comes in. It's now 12-3, 13-3 as we move things on to the 9th, and somehow the bad flip from Neto to second base. Newman in the air, catches it, falls down in the bag, throws the first, and gets Jarren Duran, even with his fleet feet going down first base. And the Angels absolutely mollywop the Boston Red Sox here at Fenway, 13-3, 22 total hits for the Alos on the day. Jorge Soler gets Player of the Game honors, 3 for 5 with a home run and a double. Nolan Shawnuel with a fantastic 5-hit game with a double and 3 RBI. Taylor Ward had 2 runs driven in and 2 runs scored. Yoan Moncada was 3 for 4. 5 players had extra base hits on the day for the Angels. Anderson was pretty solid on the mound as well. 5 1/3, 8 hits, 1 walk, 4 Ks, 3 runs in his first start of 2025. And unfortunately for Tim Anderson, he has dislocated his ankle on a play where nothing happened in the actual game, but somehow he dislocated his ankle on that. He is out for 6 months, the rest of the season. It was nice knowing you. You were up for like a week. And taking his spot on the roster will now be Matthew Lugo, getting the call up from AAA Salt Lake. And we get our first taste of the trademark trades here in MLB The Show. Bo Bichette, expiring Bo Bichette from the Toronto Blue Jays, who are in the mix, being traded to a team that is not in the mix, the Detroit Tigers, in return for Parker Meadows and Alex Cobb. We've actually made a couple transactions of our own here as we dipped back into the waiver wire and claimed Cooper Bowman off waivers from the Athletics. See potential utility guy, 25 years old. He is actually going to go down to AAA for us because apparently in this game you can just waive and send down to the minors Rule 5 guys. So he's being waived by the Athletics. We claimed him, and then we're sending him back down to AAA. He does clear for us, and he's now in our system. So Cooper Bowman in AAA for us. And because he basically fills the same role as Scott Kingery, and Scott Kingery has a D potential and is a little bit older, I believe, Kingery is getting released, and Cooper Bowman now takes his spot in the organization at the AAA level. And as you can see, we are now here towards the end of the month of June. We continue to slide towards the bottom of the league here in the campaign, 9 games back in the division. Pretty much out of it at this point, 37-44. Things are not looking good for the Halos here. And because of that, we are making a small trade here. Kenley Jansen, we are sending to the Toronto Blue Jays. They are still in the wildcard race here, even after the Bo Bichette trade. They could use a reliever, so we sent them a reliever. Kenley Jansen lost his closer job with us, and we would just rather use younger pitchers, guys who have the possibility of being around more than just the rest of this season. So we are going to be doing that, sending him to Toronto, getting a 24-year-old C-potential outfielder in RJ Schreck back from them. And then Hans Kraus is going to be the corresponding move. He comes up to be a member of our big league bullpen. The Angels back home here in Anaheim, playing host to the Washington Nationals, who are rocking a 6-game winning streak. Trying to stay scrappy in the National League East, on the bump for us is Jose Soriano. The last time we saw him, things did not go well, but he's been having a pretty decent season. Take a look at the Nationals lineup on the day, listed 1-2-9. We'll start things off top 1. 2 outs, 1 on. Hundo up and in, gets a pop-up from James Wood as Moncada puts that one away, and Soriano works a clean first inning. Jake Irvin on the bump for the Nationals. Take a look at the Angels lineup on the day, listed 1-2-9. In the bottom half of the first, 1 out, Mike Trout comes up, and he's going out to left center field. That one's going to get up against the wall. He's got himself a little two-bagger there, gets himself in scoring position, brings up Logan O'Hoppe, who then somehow gets this pitch out to right field. That's going to score Trout. Let's be real here. I'm swinging at this pitch because half my attention's on this game, half my attention's watching the end of Arkansas with a no-hitter. Gage Wood, incredible pitching performance. So that's why I'm like half looking at both screens. But there we have, now on to the second, where C.J. Abrams, he singles, and then Jose Tena comes up and rips one off the right field wall. And now suddenly it's 2-1. 2-1 Nationals, Soriano. Things are starting to go downhill here. Dylan Cruz, absolute jack job to center field, way out of here, onto the grass in center field. 107 off the bat, 3-1 Nationals, and they're still not done in that inning. Keibert Ruiz comes up with 1 out. Even the outs are loud. Line drive, 102 off the bat, caught by Moncada on the hot corner. Then it brings up Ahmed Rosario with 2 outs. He pokes one over Lugo's head at second, or no, that's Rengifo at second base. And then it brings up Jacob Young. He spits on ball 4. First and second now for the Nationals. Brings up Nathaniel Lowe. And he grounds one through the middle. That's going to score 1, make it a 4-1 Washington lead. And then finally, he would get out of the inning when he gets James Wood to ground out to second base. A lot of soft contact in that inning, but also some loud outs as well. So a little bit of mixed bag there. Then top 3, already back to it. Luis Garcia, base knock. Take a look at Soriano's line there. Not looking good here for Soriano. Then it brings up C.J. Abrams. And then a pitch gets through Logan O'Hoppe's legs. The man is going, he's zagging when everyone's zigging. He's doing the traditional catching stance. Goes right through his legs. Ryan Johnson then comes out of the bullpen here for the Angels. 2 on, nobody out. Jose Tena then rips one up the middle. That's now going to be an RBI single. 5-1 here for the Nationals. Move things on. Dylan Cruz comes up. The old Olay from Seanwell out to Trout. Throw to the plate here. Guns him. The tag from O'Hoppe and Trout. Never seen this man celebrate a day in my life, but right here, nah. Gives him the old finger wag. Keeps it as a 5-1 ball game. But then immediately Keibert Ruiz bloops one into center and now makes it a 6-1 ball game. Getting out of hand here from Soriano. Brings up Ahmed Rosario. He grounds into a 3-6-3 double play, and finally the inning is over. But a 5-run lead here for the Nationals. And then the Halos here, trying to chip away. Seanwell, middle fastball, good timing, dies before the track. Next batter up, Mike Trout. Perfect. Mike Trout was at 99 power against right-handed pitching, dies before the track. Taylor Ward gets a hanging slider, or slurve, good timing, right at the second baseman. And that's when I'm like, alright, this game's not happening. We lose, we quick sim in the rest of the game. Final in this one ends up being 10-4 Nationals. I don't know, there just seems to be something about Jose Soriano's starts, something about classic pitching that just does not like his arsenal or his ratings or whatever it may be. I talked about how it just seems like wherever you're aiming the pitch is not where that pitch goes on classic pitching. I would say a good 75-80% of the time it just completely ignores where you're aiming the ball. And it feels like it's even more so the case with Soriano. And then sometimes it'll be just you give them a good pitch, but their contact is cranked all the way up on the slider set, so they just hit the ball 104 anyways. So Soriano goes 2 innings, 7 hits, 2 walks, 5 runs. Tena goes 3 for 5 on the day with a home run and double for them. 4 for 5 day for Dylan Cruz. Garcia and Young each homer for the Nationals. The silver linings for us was that Ryan Noda walked 3 times, or he had 3 hits and walked. Garrett McDaniels gave us 3 innings of scoreless ball in the quick sim. That's good. We have now reached the 2025 first-year player draft, and just as a disclaimer, this is the first time I have ever done the new scouting draft system in this game whenever they added it 2 years ago or something like that. I have not played this game in franchise mode in the time they've added this into the game, so this is my first ever experience using it. So I don't have the whole thing memorized down to a T. I don't have it optimized. I'm not going like, oh, well, this guy has, I don't even know. I don't even know what you could possibly do to nerd out with it because I don't even know anything about it. And then one, I don't do that. I don't play games like that. And then two, if you're expecting that, I don't know, there's a MUT video out there for you somewhere. But here in round one, the number 1 overall pick went to the Washington Nationals, and they took Henry Escobar, a catcher, and the number 2 overall, it was down to either between Andres Rivera, a left-handed pitcher, or a infielder in Mark O'Connor. We did end up to go with the number 2 overall selection being the left-handed pitcher Andres Rivera. So he was our guy, and then Mark O'Connor did end up going to Seattle. So we will be seeing him in the series at some point. Another disclaimer is that you should always ignore what the prospects look like when I take them as draft selections. Whatever they look like on this screen is not going to be what they look like when they actually get into my organization, because I edit these guys. I do not have these guys looking like they have a long baggy sleeve on one arm with a 3/4 on the other arm and like a turtleneck, and they've got like some 1935 facial hair. It's not happening. So moving things on to round 2, we took Jeff Mitchell, a right-handed pitcher from Canada. In round 3, we took a right-handed pitcher from Germany in Ken Volek. In round 4, we took an infielder, Sean Malone. In round 5, we took a left-handed pitcher, Mario Franco. And then in round 6, we took a right-handed reliever in Eric Jordan. And then you know what else that means? We have reached the draft, which means we have also reached the All-Star break. Bowden Francis does end up being the top vote-getter in starting pitchers among the American League class. Logan O'Hoppe does get the highest votes at catcher for us, and then Mike Trout also did make the team as a right fielder, so we have 2 All-Stars despite our poor record. And then just a quick roundup of how some of our best players some of our key players have been performing for us this season. Logan O'Hoppe, very solid for us this year as a catcher. He's been performing well, he's been developing well. Respectable OPS for him, 19 home runs, 14 doubles. I would like to see the OBP improve. It is currently sub 300. That's pretty unacceptable. I don't expect him to be a high OBP guy, but 320-ish, something like that. That's something I would expect from him. Zach Neto, very similar thing with him. He has been up and down for us, but also OBP needs to improve. And then we also need him to be a centerpiece for us with how good his overalls are, with how good his ratings are. We need him to be a centerpiece, cornerstone guy for us who performs at a high level if this team is going to be good while Mike Trout is still good before he gets hit with some of that MLB The Show regression. And then Nolan Schanuel, he has been exactly what I hoped he would be, just that elite plate discipline translating to a very high OBP at the top of our lineup. He's also showed some pop too with 13 home runs and 15 doubles. He's developing well. Mike Trout, he's Mike Trout. I mean, enough said, he's doing what he does. Mike Trout's elite, we all know that. And then once again, hoping that we can figure out our shit and get an actual good team in place by the time that he's still good and he has not been just totally tanked by the regression in this game. On the pitching side of things, Yusei Kikuchi has been by far our best starting pitcher. The rest of them has pretty much just been like a group of like mid-4 ERAs, mid-4 FIPS, while Kikuchi has actually been one of the better pitchers in the American League this year with a 3.96 ERA and a 3.55 FIP in 116 innings. But we've had some really good relievers for us too. Robert Stevenson, he has a 1.47 ERA and a 2.40 FIP in 43 innings. Jose Quijada has a 2 ERA and a 4 FIP in 41 1/3 innings. Brock Burke has a sub-2 ERA, 1.36 to be exact, with a 3.55 FIP in 33 innings. Ben Joyce has been settling into the closer role. Hasn't had the greatest numbers, but we do still have faith in him long-term in that role. Ryan Johnson has a 19 1/3 innings pitched since his call-up from AAA. He has a 6.5 ERA, but he has an encouraging 3.78 FIP with a sub-3 walk per 9, so I do think he's going to be a good reliever for us. And then who knows, maybe we stretch him as a starter at some point, even though that's going to be very annoying with having to drop his ratings and raise his stamina because it's going to look all crazy on his ratings card. Because if you just raise his stamina, then he's going to be like an 85 overall starter because the per 9 ratings are so juiced up for relievers that you got to mess with stuff. Just the usual dumb shit in this game with team building. And as far as the standings go, we are currently sitting at 45 and 51 here, 9 games back out of first place, sitting at 4th in the American League West. Even with a 7-3 in our last 10, still that 4 out, we are pretty much firmly out of it at this point. And that does lead us into our next episode, which will be the trade deadline and the rest of 2025, just wrapping things up here for this season. So be prepared for a fire sale next episode, folks. And with that being said, that's going to wrap things up here for this edition of the Los Angeles Angels here on MLB The Show 25. I've been your host, JerseyBorn, and I'm saying, listen to Wednesday, folks. Even the best champagne tastes like elderberry wine.